this morning. You guys are just amazing. Over to you, Lolita.
Hey. Good morning, everyone. Oh my gosh, what a juicy morning that we have been having today. If you just tapped in, then you missed the amazing segment done by T.M. Hyman, who is Leadership on Demand. He took us through several different strategies and things to think about that we each go through. So thank you, Rocky, for being so vulnerable. You know, we were talking things that definitely go into this power half an hour that I'm going to be talking about today. If you have not met me yet, I am Lolita E. Walker. I'm a certified life, leadership, and executive coach. I'm a power speaker, author, all of the things. But when I come to you live for a power half an hour every week in order to bring you what I like to call coaching, cocktails, and conversations. Now, coaching is where I leave you with a couple nuggets just to challenge your thinking. It's really to challenge you from where you are to help you to strive to where it is that you absolutely want to be. Absolutely. Then cocktails is not so much about what you're sipping on. It's more about celebrating the greatness of who it is that you are in this very moment, where the doubt resides, where the imposter syndrome resides, all of the things that TM talked to us about already, where all of that stuff resides. We want to have some juicy conversations around that, just about life in general. And then we want to just have some conversations right here. So coaching cocktails and conversations is just that. I want to say hey to LinkedIn, to YouTube, to Breakfast with Champions, to all of the places and the spaces. And today our topic is it's not fair. It's not fair. Now, I'm going to take you through three different sections. The first part is the unfair game of life. Yes, I think the first thing is to admit that life just simply, it ain't fair. It ain't fair. And we're going to talk about it just a little bit. The second part is how we're going to squeeze the lemons, because if you have been following me for any stretch of time, then you know I absolutely love a good metaphor. I love to take you on a journey. I love to have you think. I love to have you draw. I love to have you challenge your thinking and your mindset where you are. My clients love it. My son, I don't know that he really loves it, but I take him on a journey all of the time. And then I hear from many of you all as well. And then part three is actually being at the lemonade stand. So if you're joining me live, you can type in the comment section. If you're listening to the replay, then guess what? We love that too. What I have inside of the link for all of you all on Clubhouse is It's Not Fair. The topic for today is It's Not Fair. And I got that because my son named his most recent book. Yes, I'm a proud mommy inside of this moment right here. And I want to show it to you all. It's called It's Not Fair, a book about divorce by a son and his mommy. It's not fair. And if you look at the cover here, you see me as his mom holding his hand, and both of us are sitting on the floor looking into each other's eyes, but there is a sadness in his eye. And the reason why he decided, well, I decided it was time for him to write a book, but the reason why he got on board is because after 4.5 years, it took 4.5 years for him to feel comfortable enough to put this out into the atmosphere, is that we recognize that through this journey, this thing called life, it's not fair. And I want to talk to you about that today, because no matter if you're navigating a divorce, no matter if you've had a heart breakup, no matter if you've started your business and clients are not coming, no matter if friends don't look like they're supporting you the way that you would have them to, or you would want them to, or quite frankly, the way that you support them, whether it's that you've been passed over for a job, whatever that thing right there is, I want you to know right here where we stand, we can say it loud, we can say it proud. Guess what? It's not fair. It's not fair. So I'm going to take you through 4 different strategies of what we're going to do inside of this thing called life, because we're recognizing, we're standing on the notion that nope, it's not fair. It's not fair that you're not going to blow up right away when you start your business. It's not fair that you've been working in a corporate space for 20 years and you know it like the back of your hand, yet and still when you go out to do the things that you've been doing all this time, you're now a small fish in a big pond. It's not fair, but it is. And so today I'm taking you through this next little episode, I'd like to call it, because we're going to explore how we can turn these sour lemons into some sweetness, right? How Beyonce did. Absolutely. How all of us are doing, have done, and will continue to do. That's what we're talking about. So grab your coaching cocktails and conversations journal, grab your sheet of paper, or close your eyes and think about the lemonade stand that is right there with you. If you follow me on Instagram, then you go to Hey Coach Walker. There's a lemonade stand that's right there. And whatever you're taking from today, I want you to type in right under there about what you're taking from today, because today we recognize that on a lemon tree, there's going to be some sour ones. We get them all the time, but there's going to be some real sweet ones over there too that we're going to make this lemonade from. So in this part one, this unfair game of life, we know that life can be absolutely unfair. We're standing right here. We got the picket sign up. We've all been there. We face setbacks. We face disappointments. We face discrimination in some way, shape, or form. We've faced unexpected twists. We faced the word no right inside of our face. We might be actually facing it right now. But what if we looked at this like a game? Because today, that's what we're going to look at it like. And somebody might be saying, Lolita, you're always turning everything into a game. Just a couple weeks ago, we did Lifescapes, where I told you that we had a controller and we were navigating this thing called life. We were there. We only had 3 different controls on a controller. We had forward, we had stop, and then we had pause. And we talked about the power of the pause and sitting right there and what we're going to do inside of this time in our Lifescapes, right? We took ourselves through that board game of life. Today, I want to encourage you to go with me on this journey. And what if we looked at this as a game, and the game is one where the rules aren't always in our favor. The rules aren't always in our favor. It's not like spades and you already go in knowing that you got a certain amount of books and you about to make them happen right there. No, it's not like that. It is sometimes the cards that we're looking at are not in our favor, but what are we going to do in order to make the books happen? What are we going to do in order to move forward? So I want to challenge you today. If it's true, which we know that life is not always fair and this game isn't always going to be fair, we got to remember the choices in this unfair game. The advantage that we have is we already have the picket sign and we're standing out there. The advantage that we have is we already know it's not fair. So our mind is shifting a little bit about how we're going to get around this thing. And I want you to go with me. The thing that is in front of you is going to look different for everybody. So I want that thing that's not fair right now to stand in front of you inside of this moment. I want to give you a minute to think about what that is. And we know that thing we're going to get around. Why? Because clarity plus confidence equals commitment. Why? Because we're standing here and we're listening to Lolita E. Walker. Why? Because we know that we're not going to stay in complacency inside of this moment. Why? Because you're here. And because you're here and you're listening, I already know that you're already on path to success and to soar beyond the success of where you stand today. Why? Because I know that there's successes in your life that have gotten you here. And although the lemons that might be in front of you right now feel sour, I know that you have gotten through other challenges before. You have shaken that thing called the lemon tree, and therefore you stand here. That's okay. We're starting a new lemon tree and we're right here and we're right here together. And so when we journey this thing, the question is, how do we shift our mindset from it's not fair to what can I do with what I've already got? What can I do with what I've already got? Because that's the thing that I got right here, right now. That's the thing. Why? Oh, I love this, Pam from YouTube. Come on now. She said, why? Because we're worthy of it. Hashtag absolutely. Why? Yes, Pam. Why? Because we're worthy of it. Why? Because we're standing right here. So in this game, in this unfair game of life, I want you to recognize that the thing in front of you right now, I want you to stand up and get ready to shake this thing, because I got the picket sign right behind you. If you need me to be beside you, I got that thing. Pam has got that thing. Pam is on this journey with us. The folks right here inside of the room, and that is like 80 of us or something like that, are sitting right here. The folks that's going to watch the replay, we're right here with you, but we got to go outside. We got to get out of our complacency and walk outside to be ready to shake that tree. I'm ready. So come on along. Absolutely. So what if we begin to think of this life as a lemon tree? I want you to think of the lemon tree that's in front of you. I want you to think about the environment where you are. Is it sunny outside? Is it raining outside? Some branches of this lemon tree, they bear this ripe, juicy lemon. Okay, that's the one we aiming for. When we cut it open, oh my gosh, we can even suck from it because it's that good. That juicy lemon is what we're looking for. But sometimes it's going to yield the small, bitter ones. Now, we can't control which lemon it's going to be. We're picking it off of the tree. We can't control which lemon it's going to be. But what we can do is decide if we're going to use them in our lemonade. I want you to remember that. What we can do is decide if we're going to leverage this circumstance and where it is that we're going. What we can do is decide if I'm going to be surrounded by these people as I go on my journey. What I can do is decide that because I know that it might not be fair, I want to encourage you to know, to trust and believe that I'm finding the greatness of the place where it's sunshiny over there. I am getting clear on where it is that I'm going, because I realize that I'm not going to sit right here and continue to look at the same tree that's bearing this bitter fruit. My son's book, the one I showed you guys right here, It's Not Fair, he named this It's Not Fair because he said, it's not fair. Life is not fair. I'm going through this navigation of a divorce. My parents chose to divorce years ago, but it's not fair. And as I come up, as I think about this even more, as I go into the schoolhouse and I see 2-parent family households, it's not fair that I don't have that thing. And these questions start to come. So whether it's that with your child or whether it's something else with what it is you're going through, I want that to sit in front of you. That thing right there. That thing right there. It's in front of you. And now we move to our part 2, because we've already recognized that the game is unfair. That's part 1. Yep, I got it. And it's true. And we're going to sit inside of it. We're going to take the moment to assess it. We're going to feel all of the feels. And now, because we already know that where I'm going to get is over there in that, I was going to say pasture. I don't think it's a pasture, but in that area over there with all the good lemon trees, because we're going to go over there. Part 2. Oh, sorry, you guys, I got a phone call. Part 2 is squeezing the lemons. Okay, part 2 is squeezing the lemons. So now we're squeezing the lemons. We already said, yep, this unfair game of life is happening. And now part 2 is that we're squeezing the lemons. So to everybody listening in or looking in, I want you to think about this. I'd love for you to imagine, yes, we're going on this journey of you now holding this basket of lemons. I told you some are golden and fragrant. I told you that some are great and some are sour. I told you that while others might be bruised and have imperfections. Yes, imperfect is where I'm trying to go. While some might be imperfect, guess what? You've seen it before. You've seen it before. Sometimes we get so caught up in what's happening in the right now that we forgot that we've been standing right here before. So when I think about things like, and it's a fair question, like I'm going to use Rocky again because I feel like I can. I feel like that relationship's there. So I'm going to use her again. Is that this morning when TM asked her, are you an influencer? And her answer was no. Absolutely, because sometimes we feel like that. When I think of influencer, I think of big stars that's on TV every day. That definition of what an influencer is where she doesn't see herself being at this particular moment in time. But am I an influencer? What if we look at it and say, who am I influencing inside of this moment? Who am I influencing inside of this moment where I'm talking? Who am I influencing inside of this moment? So am I an influence in this moment? Actually, yes, I am an influencer in this right now because I'm impacting someone, whether they tell me now or whether they tell me in the future. Am I where I want to be? Absolutely not. Not yet. Not yet, but I'm on my way because I'm gifted with every single thing that I'm pouring into every single person. And by the way, I can see them using my strategies. I can see that they show up in all the free spaces. But if I'm measuring myself on the amount of people that's going to comment on my stuff when I'm giving them free stuff, if I'm measuring people on, the point is, what does success look like to us? What does the lemonade taste like to us? Oh my gosh. When you were little, it might just happen in my house. Even now, sometimes I say to my mother, oh girl, my tea is better than that. Or I taste her sweet tea and I'm like, Or the Kool-Aid. Remember when you used to make the Kool-Aid? Oh my gosh, there's some Kool-Aid that had just the right amount of sugar in it. There's some Kool-Aid that give you diabetes right there on the spot. There's some Kool-Aid that you're like, did you taste this? I want you to know that it depends on what your level and your measure of success is inside of that moment, because we know where we're going to be. We know where we want to be, but we're not there right now. So as we squeeze these lemons, I want you to think about the fact that life has handed you some lemons. I want you to squeeze them literally and metaphorically. Squeeze them. Make something out of where it is that you are right now inside of this moment. I'm in the midst of writing this research paper, you guys. I swear, I'm in the midst of it, and I just am stuck on this piece. And I want to say that uh, I'm squeezing, but am I squeezing hard enough? I'm seeing the juice come out, but did I just leave it there and then say, okay, I'm gonna get back to that tomorrow? Is the procrastination that we talked about this morning just taking over? Is my brain telling me that, you know what, you got time? Is my brain telling me, you know what, you might not be able to, in this particular instance, add and contribute to the literature that's already there? What is happening there that I forgot that at the end of this thing, I'm already excited and doing the work in academia, outside of academia, in corporate America, all of the things I need to remember. Therefore, I need to post what that looks like in my graduation cap. I need to post publications that I already have. I need to post things that I've already done that look like success, but I remember when the lemons were sour. In those moments, that's why affirmations are so powerful. That's why journaling is so powerful. That's why having books, even though it might not be in academia, is so powerful. That's why going back and looking through comments is so powerful. Who was that? Hey. Oh, I don't know. Hey, Chima, how you doing? Listen. The beauty of all of the situation here right now is that the lemons are here, the sugar is here, the stirrer is here. You have all the tools, you have the people who can help you, but have we asked? We're squeezing lemons today. I want you to squeeze it because maybe it's a setback at work. Again, maybe it's a broken heart. How can you transform what you have into something meaningful? That's what we're doing today. So if you were my client, I'd be telling you, hey, guess what we're going to do right now? I would love for you to draw this lemon tree. I'd love for you to draw your lemon tree. I don't know. Is it a picket fence around it? Make it all the things. I want you to be there inside of the moment. Is it a porch right there? Is your grandmama sitting right there? Are you talking about something? What are you talking about? The lemon that's on the ground that's bruised and battered and looking all gross? Name it. What's it looking like? The sweet one that you're cutting into, what does that vision look like? I want you all to think about that because where we're standing in this moment is not where we absolutely have to end. We just walking through what I call the pasture, that I don't know if it's called the pasture for real. I don't really know, y'all. In my book, it's called the pasture, okay? So for Walker, my son, when he was writing this thing right here, when he was writing this book that you all see if you're looking in, when he was writing this, there's a section in here that says it's okay to not be okay. To realize that it's okay to not be okay, to realize that it's okay to be sad sometimes, to realize that in this moment in time, I'm not feeling my best, to realize, guess what? I haven't made money this month, but I know the trajectory of where I want to go. So I am going to insert some actions in here to call some clients, to get with some mentors, to get on a stage with somebody that already has something, to do an Instagram live with somebody that has a lot of followers, to talk to somebody and ask the questions, to ask somebody, how do I start my podcast? To talk to somebody who's already in a senior leader position and talk about how am I going to get here? Whatever it is that you want to do and where you want to go, I want you to know that it's available and the lemon is right there in front of you. Pam has said, when getting the juice from the lemon, it needs to be pressed and squeezed. Come on now, Pam. You know what, Pam? I'm loving this. Sometimes we need to be pressed and squeezed to get the best part of us to ooze out. Oh my God. Pam, come on now. This is what I'm talking about. Sometimes we have to be pressed and squeezed to get all the juiciness out of us. I love that. I talk about this. Thank you so much, Pam. I talk about this all the time. I don't know if some people have heard me, so there's some new people inside of the room. I remember back, I lived in Baltimore at the time, and I recently gotten a divorce. My dad had recently passed away. I had this newborn, not really newborn, but this young child by myself. I had left my job. I started my business. I didn't have any money. I was using my savings account, all the things, everything that could feel like it was going wrong. I didn't know how I was going to pay the rent at the time. And so I'm in my house and I just fall on the ground. And I start weeping and weeping. I'm on all fours and I'm weeping and weeping. And I'm just calling out to God. I'm just like, I don't know how I'm going to make it. Can you please just help me? I'm weeping and weeping. And just to feel this moment, I'm almost about to tear up. So I'm weeping and I'm weeping. And all of a sudden, I kid you not, I write about this in my first book, The Intersection of You and Change. And I feel this blanket over me. And I call it a blanket of calm. And I've never experienced anything like it before. And for a minute, for a moment, I felt this sense of what's happening, but I stayed right there. And I stayed right there and I let it overcome me. And I tell you, in that moment, I stood up. My tears instantly dried up. I'm telling you, it felt like literally a blanket over top of me. And I believe everybody in their life, when you surrender, will have a God moment. And it comes in time. It looks different for everybody, but mine was this blanket of calm. And I got up inside of that moment. My tears were dry. Don't know how that happened. Nothing but God. I talk about it all the time. Is I went downstairs and I wrote what I call my Be Free Creed. I didn't make mistakes on it. I just wrote. And it literally became my Be Free Creed. And it's something that I say all the time. If you listen to my podcast, and I've said it there, I posted it, or maybe I'll post it today too. It is just so powerful. And I want you to know that in the midst of, you are, in the midst of, I am, in the midst of, you are greatness where it is that you stand. In this moment does not define you. It is a momentary interruption. And so are you an influencer? Are you a podcast host? Are you making impact in the world? Are you where you want to be? No, but the growth is in the lemon tree that stands before you. So in this part 3, as we kind of wind down where it is that we are, in this part 3, we're moving on to the lemonade stand, because we've been through the orchid. Maybe it's an orchid. I don't really know. What is it called when you got a bunch of lemon trees? Wherever that is, that's where we are.
The lemon tree orchard?
Orchard. Orchard. Yes, the orchid is the flower. See, you got to ask the people. Yes, orchard. Yes, thank you, Mary Lynn. Okay, so now we're at the lemon tree stand, because we're already making the things. We're squeezing, we're pressing, we're doing all the things. Thank you, Pam, for jumping in right there. So now we're setting up our lemonade stand. Now imagine it's on this bustling street, because everybody's coming to the orchard now that we know it's a lemon tree orchard. Okay, now everybody's coming past there, and in this bustling, it's the street corner, so people are passing by, and guess what they're thirsty for, guys? They thirsty for your lemonade, but they really thirsty for hope. Others are parched for life to just get a little bit better. What is your lemonade recipe for the people? What's your lemonade recipe for yourself? What's your lemonade recipe gonna be? So I think we're on to something right here. We got our resilience here. We got our hope. We got our encouragement. We got our perspective. We got our skill sets. We got where it is that we want to go. Our vision. We got our experience. We stepping up. We doing all the things. We got our effort. We got all of those things with us. And we got a tribe that's no joke. Okay. We got a tribe that's no joke and going to push us and hold us accountable, because what we're smart enough to know is that we need a coach along the way. That's what we're smart enough to know. Is that we need somebody that's going to stand beside us on this journey, because in the midst of, we're going to be moving. Okay. So life isn't fair, my friends. Life is not fair, my friends. Okay. We already know that. We started off as that, but we're not victims. We're creators. We're amazing. We're doing the thing. We're influencing all of the places and spaces. We're influencing ourselves. So we're going to embrace our lemons, the bitter ones and the sweet ones, the tart ones and the bruised ones. And together, we're going to turn these stories that we have into the triumph, into the growth. Okay, that's what we're going to do. And so what I'm leaving you with is this notion of fair. The notion of fair. And I've talked to my son in essence about these things too. And I'm so proud of him for his book, Life. It's called It's Not Fair, a book about divorce by a son and his mommy, and be able to take the bitter and turn it into amazing sweetness. It's to turn it into lemonade and then recognize that, wait a minute, I'm not my parents' decisions. I'm a product of amazingness. And though it doesn't feel good in the shape that it is right now, in a bruise that it is right now, I'm going to identify that that is what it is. And I'm going to get help through therapy, through talking, through doing, through writing, through publishing, through influencing by helping other people, through talking about it, through media, through letting people know. Because on the other side of this thing, I'm talking about it because I'm standing inside of it. So the F today of what I'm leaving you with is, guess what? We're facing adversity head on. We're facing adversity head on. And if you're looking, then you're seeing. But if you're listening, then you're listening. Face adversity head on. We know it. We started off with that in part one, the unfair game of life. We know that it is, right? The A is about adapting and finding creative solutions to get to where it is that you want to get to. Happiness, joy, and peace is where he wanted to get to. Understanding, adapt, and find creative solutions to do that. Find creative solutions to do that. It might not feel creative in the moment, but what you do with it on the other side is the lemonade that you're selling at the end of this thing. The I is about inspiring others through your journey. Talk about your journey. Inspire others to get up and do the thing. Inspire yourself to get up and write the research paper, do the work, ask the questions. The R that I'm leaving you with today is about resilience. Resilience. Resilience turns lemons into lemonade. You are resilience. Every client I have, you are resilience. Everybody listening in, you are resilience. I am resilience. I want you to use that as your power affirmation today. I am resilience. And then I want you to think about, how have you demonstrated that? How have you come out of that? How have you stood in that? You already got a story. You're standing right here. You are resilience. You've been through the thing. You're it. You're here. You are resilience and you're here. So guys, today we turned lemons into lemonade. We navigated life's unfairness. Today our topic was it's not fair, and it's not fair. And so now that we know that, what you going to do? What you going to do? One of the things I do want you to do for real is to support my boy. His book, It's Not Fair. It's going for global distribution now, so it should be on Amazon in the coming weeks. But right now, you can get it at Lulu. You can get it at bit.ly/Walker's Book, capital W right there, Walker's Book. I'd love for you to support him. But in the meantime, in between time, I want you to support yourself. I want you to support yourself by knowing what is standing in front of you right now that is not fair. There's something that's standing in front of you that is not fair. I got one standing in front of me right now. And so that thing that's not fair, I want you to now name it and knock it on its butt. I was going to say something else, but we're not. Know that the picket signs with the people that's saying it's not fair are right beside you, and they're there to help you. I want you to know that, trust that, and believe that. And then today we're walking into it differently. So I want to thank everybody for definitely being here. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Norman, for saying orchard too. I appreciate that. I didn't look down to see that, but thank you so much for everybody who tuned in and then gave in today. Know that your orchard tree environment right there, it's there. Pick the fruit. And when it's sour, just move it over. Sometimes a little bit of sour ain't hurt nobody. So do all the things, you guys. And I want to open it up in case anybody has anything that they want to add, and then we turning it over. Hey, I'm so pumped up today. This is like, sometimes I tell you guys all the time that when I'm speaking to you all, I'm really speaking to myself as well. So I get super pumped at the end of my power, half an hour. And then I hear from you all like weeks and weeks later about what you've done with the information. So as you turn your lemons into lemonade, you see, I have my pen in my hand too, because I write at the same time as I'm talking to you all. My lemon tree is here as well. I want you to look at the ones that's on the ground, that's bruised and battered. And I want you to write what that is right there. And then write the ones that's sweet, the big ones, the juicy ones. Talk about the sweetness that's in it. Talk about the wins that you've had. Talk about how you about to get over this hump that you might be sitting in right now, and how you about to do the work to get to that thing. What is your vision in the orchard? I didn't know that, you guys. I don't want y'all to think that just couldn't come out. So I had to ask my friends about what that was. All right, guys, I'm out. See you later. All right, it was